Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 388 of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Cookies and dowels, Tyler. Cookies and dowels.
I love those
Anyway, no, I'm doing okay, man. Kind of like a to the numbers week work-wise, but on the gaming front, man, I'm just playing a bit of games in the SNES app. But other than that, though, I did continue on with the game on the PS5. Actually, before we started recording.
You playing games on the PS5, you say?
Oh, PS4. God
Okay.
damn it.
Gable's
Oh,
got
get
the
your hopes up there,
exclusives.
man. It's like, well, Gable's got the scoops this week. No,
Yeah, well,
no.
I already got the headline for this show.
Nah, man. What I mean is, like, I was continuing on from the game that I left off of on the PS4 months back. But in that regards, man, it's like there hasn't been really too much happening with me. I have been around, been working, getting my coffee and shit. But anyway, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. A little hungover today. We played some Among Us last night on the PC. Yes, we played a PC game last night with some of the guys from the Talk Ship group, and I did not realize it, but we only played for like maybe 3 hours, not even 3 hours, and I slammed like 13, 14 beers in that time period. Not even noticing. What didn't help was I was grabbing two at a time. Every time I go to the kitchen to grab another beer, and I got done. I stood up after I got offline. There was a couple of people playing, and I went to go let Louie outside, and I started walking around. I'm like, oh boy, I'm a little drunk, and then I started walking around. I'm like, oh, I'm very drunk, and then I looked over. And I was just sitting the empties next to the sink there. I'd dump them out, rinse them with water, and I just set them there, and I counted. I'm like, oh dear Lord, I didn't realize I drank this much. I'm like, this is gonna suck tomorrow, and boy, I slammed like a bunch of water before I went to bed. Ate a couple pieces of toast. Try to sit on my stomach because I realized also I didn't eat dinner, which was also a big mistake. Yeah, so it's not the worst thing. It's just one of those ones where you're just like, ugh, I just feel like kind of like shit a little bit, but I wasn't puking or anything like that, but just cracked open my first beer for tonight when we started the show. So, doing okay. I had in the works of starting a new job hopefully here soon. So I had to go take a drug test Wednesday morning, and I went up and so all I had to do was do a drug test, and I'm not going to have any issues with passing it. But I have a very shy bladder. Like I literally I can't, like it's got to be emergency if I poop somewhere that isn't home. Even with like Courtney, I didn't poop in front of her for like 3 months, and not even like poop for her. I just like poop when she's in the same facility as me, like the same house, like at her apartment. I would go like, oh, I'm gonna go up to the store real fast and grab something just so I can like run to the grocery store to take a shit. Like that's how I am, and like I can't pee if people can hear me pee. Like I just can't do it. And like, so especially like when I'm at like in public bathrooms and stuff like that, if like there's multiple urinals and somebody's standing next to me at the urinal next to me, I just can't pee. I'll just stand there for like 20 seconds, pretend like I'm done and flush. Yeah, I can't do it. If I'm drinking, I mean, I'll fucking piss right now with you staring right at me, like looking eye to eye. But like that's no issue. But like, yeah, like when I'm just any other time though, it's like it's bad. And I pee a lot, like, cause I drink a lot of water, especially when I'm like at work and stuff. I slam water bottles and stuff like that.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, nothing is better Nothing is more better in my personal opinion was like when you get the stall all to yourself and all of a sudden it's like someone walks in or something like that, like a couple people walk in, all of a sudden you just let loose and they just run out as quickly as possible.
Oh boy, no, I don't know. No, I don't know anything about that.
It's funny as shit, quite literally. Anyway,
I used to like, I would like my job I had a few years ago in a warehouse. On the other half of it was a call center, and like you had to have a badge to get over there. For some reason, my badge worked, and to get over there, so I would go over there to go poop because there was like 30 people in that tire, like literally like 40% of this building is a call center, and at any point in time they'd have 40 people over there, and they had like their bathrooms, like the warehouse side there, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
But on that side it was like they had this very nice lighting. It was like everything was so nice. So I would go over there and like I'd have to like time it out strategically to go poop over there, like because I'd work 12, 13-hour shifts. I gotta poop. Otherwise, man, like I'll hold it in for hours, days,
dude.
If I have to. If I'm not, I don't have a chance. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt your little story though, but it's like it kind of reminds me of like the first job that I have and stuff. Like here I was sitting in the break room, right, and like we get a call over the intercom, like one of the supervisors like, "Oh, yeah, we need to clean up the men's bathroom," and all of a sudden I see my coworker, right, with his little janitorial cart go inside the men's bathroom. Not even like 2 minutes later, all of a sudden I hear this loud, "No!" No, man. What had happened was the customer that went into the bathroom, the dude laid a deuce on the damn toilet seat.
Oh.
Like completely a deuce on the toilet seat, and he had to go in there and fucking flush the shit.
Jesus Christ.
Man, but it was so fucking hilarious, dude. It's like I'm just over there just playing a game or something like that during break, and I just start laughing my ass off.
Jesus. What the fuck is wrong with people?
I know, man. It's like people are just dicks when they want to be dicks, though. But it's like, hey, man, I've been there, man. It's like you over there in the public, you try to do your business or something like that, and all of a sudden someone runs in or sits in the stall next to you, and you're just like stage fright.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have it, but yeah, but anyway, so I had to go take his drug test, and I made the mistake of peeing right before I left. I'm like, as soon as I started peeing, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, God damn it, this is going to be bad. So I ran out to the gas station on the way there, and I grabbed 2 1-liter things of water. And I'm like, I'm going to have to pee for sure. And I chugged them in 3-4 minutes. Like, because it's,
oh
it's
my
like,
God, dude.
It's like 10 minutes away. So I'm like, and I knew I was going to be in and out. So I went up there, and I'm like, I'm like not even 5 minutes later, I'm walking in the door, and I'm just like, it hurts, like that, that kind of pee where you're in pain, and I'm like, oh my God.
When you're
and then
I'm
filling out
like that or whatever,
yeah,
like it's all filled up.
Yeah, I'm filling out the information as fast as I can. Like I got to fill out the whole sheet, like 3-4 pages worth of shit, and then I get there and I'm waiting in the waiting room. Luckily, I only had to wait like maybe like after I got there, I was waiting, so like probably 10 minutes to wait there. So like it's been 15 minutes since I've chugged those 2 water bottles. And then the lady goes in there, I have to go talk to her, fill out more shit, talk to the lady. And then she's like, all right, well, here's your cup. I need you to fill to this line, which is like, I don't know, fucking, like your pointer finger to your knuckle. So not much, a couple inches. And I'm like, okay. She's like, oh, you got 4 minutes. I'm like, don't do that to me. Don't. I'm like, don't do that to me. Please don't. So I'm like, fuck. So like,
she gave you a fucking time frame?
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, 4 minutes. I'm like, oh God, don't do that to me. So I'm getting in there, and it took 3.5 minutes, dude, just to fill to the black line. I was just like little spurts. I'm like, I'm still in pain because I have to pee so bad, but I just can't. And it took, I'm not kidding, dude. It took I had him close to run out of time to like get all that, just to barely fucking eke over the black line that she told me to fill up to. And then you afterwards, after you fill up the black line, you can pee in the toilet, but you can't flush and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just standing there. I'm like, I can't fucking pee. So I'm like, fuck. So I just hurry up. And plus my timer was running. I knew my time was running out. Go out there. Still, I'm sweating so bad right now. I'm in so much pain. And so I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, fuck. I'm just dying. And then I got to sit there and wait for her to fill it out. And then I got to sign more shit. And I don't know. I mean, they probably had to think I was on something, or like this guy's gonna fail for sure, because just the way I was acting, the way I was feeling, and then I fucking darted out of that goddamn place and flew. I had to be going 20 over to get to the fucking nearest gas station with the bathroom that was like 5 minutes away. It was the worst. Man, I hate. Like it's funny because I've never done drugs my entire life. I've never even smoked pot ever, and like I was telling my boss, I'm like, it's like I don't get it. Like every time I take a drug test, I get like a little anxiety. I don't know why. It's like I have zero issues, and it's like I think that's what it is. It's just because like the whole process of having to pee on. Like I remember at one of my job I had before, the same place at the warehouse I worked at, we were switching companies over, so we had to like basically do the whole hiring process over again.
Oh shit.
And we had to all do drug tests, and like but you did the drug test on site, and the lady came. It's like it was all random, like when you got called, so you had no idea, like you didn't have a time. You just like they would call you on the speaker to go up there, and I literally just peed. Like I was like just walked out of the bathroom, not even 30 seconds, and they called me up to go take a drug test. I'm like, oh. And you can't leave, and you can't leave the area, so you got to stand there and wait. I'm standing there, and it's when you first walk to the warehouse. So I'm standing like a fucking idiot at this table, and it's just like you can't leave. And luckily there's a water cooler right there, and I'm just fucking chugging water. And then I was a coordinator of this whole department, and my supervisor comes up to me, and just ripping me a new asshole about how I need to hurry up and get this done so I can get back to work. I'm like, I can't pee. Like I have drank a half a gallon of water, and I would keep going to the bathroom to go pee, and I had to pee, but I just couldn't do it. And then I'd walk out, and my supervisor is like telling me, "You need to hurry up." And I'm like, "You're not making this any easier for me. You're actively hurting your case the longer you stand." And she was just standing there like waiting for me to go. I'm like, "I can't fucking go. You got to go." And then like all on top of that, I forgot about this. There's a dude in the bathroom. You went in the bathroom in front of the urinal and peed, and he was just like, he couldn't see your junk and all that, but like he was standing behind you on the other, like across from you in the against the wall while you peed, to make sure you weren't using like a Whiznator or any fake pee or anything like that. So I'm like, I mean, I was there for like a half an hour just chugging water. I'm like, maybe if I just chug enough water, it'll have to like force its way out of me. Like, like not just like at a certain point, I just physically couldn't hold it in anymore. Yeah, that was the worst experience. I wish I can just fucking take a piss. Like I know people that would just like, I met this guy 3 minutes ago. He just, he's just turning his back towards me and he's peeing outside. Like we're in the middle of a park right now and it's daytime and he's just peeing. I'm like, okay. I've met people like that, or like you're camping, people just like stop and pee right there. I'm like, okay, this is weird. It's like I couldn't do that. It's like I don't care if you're someone I've known my entire life. Couldn't do it. Like I said though, if I'm a 6-pack in, it's a different story. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so that was my fun little time for the week. But like I was saying earlier, we played a game together for the first time in a while.
Oh yeah, we did.
I can't remember the last time we you and I played a game together, but we both played Among Us.
Boy. Yep.
What was the last game?
It must have been A Way Out.
I think so. Yeah. So that was like late 2018. So it's been about 2 years. So it was fun getting together playing. We got, like I said, I think we had like 9 of us, I think, in a group. Like Nerves, Fish was there.
Pretty
Jacob.
huge.
Yeah, Jake, who was the one of the original, the third co-founder of this podcast. Came back from the grave to play with us. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, this is the game that came out like summer 2018, and like just it came out and like it didn't really have any fanfare. And then the last like month or so, it's just blown up. But I didn't know much about it until earlier this week. I saw a couple YouTubers and stuff that I watch, and they did a Twitch stream of it, and they put it on YouTube. And I was watching. I'm like, this game looks like fun. It'd be a perfect game to play with other people, and like. But it's only on PC and phones right now. It's like $5 on Steam. It's free on phones. I mean, real quick, people don't know. It's like you have 4 to 10 people get into like you're basically on a ship together, and you'll have tasks to do. The tasks are super easy, but while you're doing it, you either have 1 or 2 imposters on the team who are trying to sabotage you, or are actively killing people. And like your field of view is very small. You can't see like in the rooms next to you. You can't, you can only see like just a few feet or in every direction. And they're going around sabotaging tasks that you've already done, and then you got to quickly go and fix them. They're killing people, and then like you find the bodies and you report them, or you can call emergency meetings. And like we were chatting on Discord, but like we had always had a random or two in the group with us, and you have like a little chat room you're in, and then you could vote for who you think it is, and vote like like, or you can skip votes, stuff like that. And like I think if you have like at least half of the living people vote for that person, they can be ejected, kicked out, ejected into space. So yeah, so I mean it's cool. And it's like every game, like it's always randomized who's the imposter, and like the imposter can, like, there's vents they can use to quickly move back and forth, but you can also catch people getting in and out of the vents too. And then like it's like kind of cool. Like I saw so and so leaving. I was like, okay, I found them in the reactor room, this dead body, and I saw Gables leaving the room, and it was pretty funny. Like I remember the first game we played together. Immediately I was accused, and it wasn't even me, and I'm like, it's not me, guys. And it's like I wasn't even trying to play dumb. Like I'm literally like this is like I played like 3 games with randoms before that, and I was just like, I'm literally trying to figure out what the fuck to do. Plus I don't play PC games, so I'm just using the mouse, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get used to this, and I don't understand the games. And it's like people like, because with the task, you don't know people do the task. You can see them walk up to the thing to do it.
That's
you don't see the pop up. Like, and it's like, so some people just stand up in front of the thing where their task is, and they just, if you're the imposter, you just pretend like you do it and walk away, and you have no way of checking to see if they did it or not. And then you got to make the argument for why you're not. And it's kind of cool. Like I remember like one of them, like where I was the imposter, and like somebody accused somebody else that wasn't the imposter, because only the imposter, like, so if I'm the imposter and Gable's the other one, the only people, like, I can see that he's the other imposter. And be like, like, Jake accused Fish, but it's like actually Gables and I are the imposters. And like, it's also a strategy of like, I don't want to, like, you want to like subtly jump on board with that, but you don't want to be too, and also you don't want to be the guy that, sometimes if you're the accuser, that can look bad on you. Or if you jump on the bandwagon too much, that can also turn bad on you. There's a couple times where I jumped on the bandwagon a little too hard, and everybody's like, wait, Tyler, are you the imposter? Or it's like a couple times where I'm like, no, I made the argument, guys, it's Jake. Jake's the imposter, and then we kicked him out, and he wasn't the imposter. And I'm like, fuck, that was my bad. But I don't know. Like I had it's a dumb little game. It's only $5, like I said. But I don't know. I think you and I both had a lot of fun playing that. What about you?
Dude, I had never even seen gameplay of this game up until last night. I've heard about it. I've seen like YouTubers go through and talk about it. But this was like over the past couple weeks. I had no idea this game came out in 2018 on Steam, and I did not know how to fucking play this game up until the first game that was dropped into. I was immediately the imposter, and of course, here I am. It just tells me, it's like, oh, okay, I gotta go through. It's either I gotta wait 20 seconds in order to kill somebody, or to do whatever in that regards, or sabotage. And so I basically go through. And I didn't even know how to sabotage things. I was just going through my first time, and I was just going through vents, and I did kill somebody, and then it's like, well, what was hilarious is I made it through the first 2 rounds without anybody suspecting me.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it was really hilarious that it was like, finally, it's like, and I wasn't even talking with you guys either. I was just wasn't even on Discord, and I didn't even know how to change my name at that point. I was just named Player, and all of a sudden it's like, I didn't say shit. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, I saw them vent, and then do this, and then vent again, and then do this. And and all of a sudden, I end up voting for myself, which is actually one of the most hilarious fucking things I could have done. It's like, oh, he voted for himself. No, man. But the most hilarious part about this game is when you have a group of people, and you're talking over Discord or whatever. This game gets so much more interesting because here you have people trying to confess their case, and I think one of the most hilarious things that was happened is when I was the imposter the second time.
Yes, this is my favorite one.
And this is me and like someone else that was like that, and I was listening in on the conversations. There were chances where I could have killed one of the other crewmates. Especially when it was like down to the final 4 of us. I could have went and stayed with Tyler, but at the same time, if I would have stayed with Tyler, it would have been basically like I could have been suspected of being like with being the killer because I could have, like, say, killed him and then they would have known.
Yeah.
But my favorite part about the entire thing when I was pretty much the killer the second time around, the whole conversation of how Jake got eliminated. That I muted my microphone then and there and stuff like that because I wanted to listen to this. And it was just kind of hilarious and stuff like that. It's like everyone else just simultaneously agrees. And Jay's like, hey, if you say this right now, it's like, I'm going to go forth and I'm going to do this and that. And all of a sudden, it's like, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And we just, guys, we just all just ejected Jake.
Yeah. That's what's, like, we even said that. I'm like, because, so the way to win it, so if you're the actual trying to do task, the way to win it is to do all the tasks. But the problem is you also got to rely on the people that are imposters to do their tasks too. But if you complete all the tasks on the ship, or you you eject both imposters. For the imposters to win, they have to get it down to, so say there's 2 imposters in the game, you have to get it down to 2 people that aren't the imposter.
That's very true.
So it has to be you have to equal it out, or I think you can do enough damage, or you can sabotage them, and then they can't get the task completed in time. That'll also do it. So yeah, so like we had a couple close games where like I think barely anybody got killed, but we were so badly like accusing other people and like ejecting the wrong people. Like the game you were just talking about, like you made it to like the final 4, I think, before because the other guy I think he got ejected really quick.
Well,
or
here's what happened inside this game. Pretty much, he basically jumped the gun. He killed like a couple of different crewmates, right? And immediately they were able to go through, I think it was like the second time this happened, where he was caught, he was accused, pretty much everyone like agreed with one of the arguments, and he was just basically went through and tossed away. And I went through and I voted on someone on like, I think I either skipped my vote or I voted on someone else because I thought the other person. I think I voted on Purple because that was the running gag of the thing. It's like, I'm the imposter, guys.
Yeah, because Purple would always say, one of the guys in the group, he always was Purple, and he always say, it's me as a joke, and then he'd always vote for himself.
The most hilarious part is one of the other hilarious parts about that game in particular is how you got voted out as the imposter.
Yeah,
which I thought was the most hilarious thing. Where it's like Jake gets like. Well, I'm not sure what it was in the same game, though, now I think about it.
Well, there was one. Jake accused me, and he's like, all right, what were you doing? I'm like, I literally didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm in this room up here doing this task. And I was like trying to explain it to him. I'm trying to line up the lines. I'm like, I can't explain it to him because I don't know. I've just seen it, like, literally it's my 4th or 5th game. And I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, literally 30 seconds into this game, he's like, all right, it's Tyler. And I got booted immediately. I'm like, that was the
time where you actually fucking killed me, and then all of a sudden I.
Are you talking about the game where I was the imposter?
It was the game where you were the imposter.
Oh yeah,
you
that one.
And you got caught, and you got launched.
So Jake
with you and Jake.
Yeah, that one. Jake caught me killing you, and like you can. If you see something like that, you can run to like the main hub, and you can hit this button, and you call emergency meeting. And there's like a countdown. You can only do it so often too per character. But if you catch them beforehand and kill them or whatever, then they can't. But he caught me killing you, and then he pulled me in. He caught me venting. I killed you and I vented, and he caught me doing that. And he's like, all right, I just saw Tyler venting, and like everybody's like, all right, Tyler, what do you got to say for yourself? I'm like, what's venting? Like I just started to like play complete stupidity, and everybody just started laughing. He's like, all right, Tyler, you're kicked out. Immediately kicked. I had no argument. I had zero argument for what I was doing. I'm like, fuck.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, no, you were like I was telling, because so when you die, you become a ghost. You can still do your tasks and stuff like that, and you can follow people around. You can run between walls like that, and you get put into a separate chat, which is cool because I was worried about. You can, like, if we're in Discord, we played the honor system. No, we didn't rat on other people, because if you die in the game, if someone kills you, you can see who kills you, so you know already who at least one of the imposters is. So when you die, you get put into like the ghost chat, so you can see their chat, and then you can also chat in the chat room with the other ghosts, but they can't. But the people that are still alive remaining in the game cannot see that chat. So it was pretty funny. I was sitting there like we're like chatting back and forth, and it's like you were like insanely good at this game. Where like you were calling people out from the jump, where it's like it's white. I know it's white, and like you built these arguments, and like you couldn't like it was driving me nuts. One game where like it went on for minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. Most of these games are like not even 10 minutes long, and like because it got down on the final 3, and everybody's like from the beginning it was you, Jake, and this rando dude, and but it's like it was obviously him, and from like the first minute you were calling out it's him. And you could never whip up the votes and shit like that. You're making all these good arguments, and we're all in the ghost chat.
What would happen was I'd vote for this guy, and everybody kept voting. Like we kept getting a tie, and we could not vote this person off.
Yeah, or like you would tie, or you wouldn't get enough votes, or people would skip. They're like, oh, we'll just wait and see it out, and then somebody else would die, and it's him. Like you said it like with 6 people left. Oh, it's this guy right here. And it's like we're all sitting like, yes, it is. And you wouldn't get enough votes, and then like you fucking 2 more people will die. Then I'll start down to 4 people, and he's still alive. It's like,
and then I'm the one that fucking got killed.
Yeah, but it's like multiple times though. It's like you did that throughout the game, where it's like you are like insanely good. Like you caught everybody like right away. You were always suspicious of the right people. And it was like we were all joking around like we're in the ghost chat and like fuck, Gables is like really good at this game.
What was really hilarious though is when we were down to that final 4, not in necessarily that one rando dude that was named I, but it was the one where I was the imposter again, where it's like we're down to 4 people, you split off and stuff, and I followed the other 2 inside there. And what I was thinking in my mind is like, you know what? If they distanced themselves enough, I could kill one and then kill the other, and then it would just be you and I. Yeah. But at that same point, I could never see that chance. So when I did initially go through that group, I pretended to go through and do an assignment. You know, I just pretended to do like a task or something like that. But it finally was to the point where you guys could not get the task done in time, and all of a sudden, I was the one that won that match, and everyone else in the Discord chat's like, Gables, you gotta tell me, how the fuck did you do that? I'm like, yeah. And I told you guys point blank, you want to know how I won that match? By doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. He's like, you just walked around. It's like you killed a couple people and then you just wandered around. It's like that's the fun of it. It's like being the imposter. It's almost like, I mean, I couldn't wait to be the imposter. And then as soon as I became imposter, I'm like, oh, like I was like, I froze. I'm like I mean, like, because like a lot of people like, you see like, it's like, oh fuck, and it's like immediately it's like, you know, it's like you want to go kill somebody. But it's also like you have patience, you know, because someone sees you, or if like you kill somebody and then someone walks in the room. It's like I remember one time I killed somebody, and I think it was down to like 4 or 5 players, and I killed somebody, and like 5 seconds later, I was still in the room, but there was a task right next to it, the dead body, and then someone walked in, they saw me do it, or they didn't see me, but they saw me in the room with the dead body, and it's like, why didn't you? Because you can self-report your own killings, and it's like, I didn't want to do that. And I'm like, I walked through, I saw him coming in the room. I like ran over to the task to pretend like I was doing the task. And they called me and it's like, all right. And it's like, I think it was Jake again, son of a bitch. But he's like, all right, Tyler was in the room with the dead body. I'm like, I would like try to, because like sometimes like you walk past the dead bodies, you don't even realize they're there. Like they kind of blend in sometimes, especially if they're like behind something. And I remember I didn't see a dead body. It's like, I was doing my task in this room. And it's like, I turned it around. I'm like, Jake, how do we know that you didn't kill this person? How do you know it wasn't you killing him? I couldn't see it on my screen because I was doing my task. And it's like I quickly like try to turn it around on him. It's like, and actually, I think I got away with it in that one. But I was trying to turn around to like, and I had some like people on my side like, Tyler's making a good point here. Where it's like maybe it's Jake trying to frame Tyler. It's like I think it's like, so it's fun. It's like fun like the arguments you come up with right off the bat, and like.
And how about that match and stuff like that, where all of us were clustered together at this one particular thing, and all of a sudden, fucking someone stack killed. We could not tell who killed somebody because we were all in together at the same spot at the right time, and anybody could have killed somebody.
Yeah, there was literally like 5 people on top of each other, like, so you couldn't see it, and one of them killed another one. So it's like, well, we know one of these 4 people is this is like the beginning of the game. And it's just like,
oh my god.
I don't know. This game's
dude, it's like what you're saying, man. The game is it's a fantastic experience when you have your friends along with you, when you have Discord or whatever, and you're just having a fucking ball, because this is one of those party games where it's one of those classic games of like who done it, and it's like who's trying to help get this thing all nice and neat, who's sabotaging, but at the same time, it could last a long time, especially if you have the right people, and especially if, say, like, and I'll never get over this, man. I was like, it was just the final four. I've been accusing this one dude the entire time, which I knew he was the fucking killer from the initial first killing that he did, and all of a sudden it's like it was the final four of us, and he literally just kills me right in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fucking prick. Yeah, no, this game is a blast, man. It's like it's definitely like I've already put like 5. I just looked at my time. I've almost put 5 hours into it already.
Oh,
I just
damn.
got it yesterday, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those games though. It's like I don't like I'll jump in and I'll play. I played a few games even today by myself, and it's like it's kind of fun, but it's really fun, more fun with friends, kind of thing.
No shit, man.
I wish this game was on like PS4.
Oh my god, that would
because
be
like this would
awesome.
be a blast for like Extra Life and shit. And just any other night, like, this could be like that, like a break up us playing like Rocket League and Fall Guys, stuff like this. Is a game that's like it's easy, it's a simplistic game, stuff like that to jump into. But yeah, I don't know, I had a blast with it. Hopefully we can get a group together again, because that's what really made it. The fact that I think at one point we had 8 of us in a Discord chat too, to like joke around, laugh. That's the real fun of it. It's like, yeah, it's fun, like do the like joke, talk in the chat thing, like the typing it in. But it's like, I don't know, the real fun is like listening to the people talk and like make their argument. And it's like you can just listen to like, I think at one point somebody was like started laughing when they're trying to like argue that they weren't. And it's like, okay, obviously you're lying and you're the imposter kind of shit. So
I think that was fucking nerves. I think that one game.
Oh yeah.
And what's hilarious in that one match where he actually was the imposter and stuff, I had noticed he was inside the fucking room, right? I go inside the room, I see him just doing like things. I thought I saw him go through the fucking vent because he was not doing any tasks. He was just standing inside the goddamn room.
Yeah.
And so here I am, like eyeballing him. I go out and I go in again, and all of a sudden he's like going close to the vent, and I fucking have to go the other way just to make sure that was. Because I saw on the fucking admin monitor someone jump from like one room all the way across the map to the other room. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's like, part of the problem is like sometimes like as people say, like when playing with randoms, it's like, oh, you give yourself away when you say you're new to this game, because you have no way. There's no levels. There's nothing like that. You can't see how many games they've won or kills they have, blah, blah. So someone could say they're brand new but played 100 hours. You don't know.
That's true.
So like there's part of that where it's like I was literally like arguing with people, like some of the games I was playing with randoms, I was like, this is my first game, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. It's like, you just gave yourself away. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like that's what people always say. I'm like, okay. It's like I got kicked out of a game almost immediately because of that. So it's like, and that's true. I bet there's a lot of people that probably say that and they're like they played it more than anybody.
It's a game where you can't trust anybody.
Yeah, and it's definitely a blast. Yeah, I hope, like I said, I hope we can get another gamer night or two. Like, I'm not a PC gamer guy. But like this.
This is probably the most fun I've actually had playing a PC game in quite a long time.
Yeah, it's like I own like a few games on Steam, and I think I looked at my Steam thing. I have like a combined like 6 hours played on my Steam account. The last game I played on my Steam account was that Dragon Cancer in like 2016. So it's been a long time. Yeah, but moving on to some other stuff here that we've been playing. I'm just gonna go real fast. 'Cause I played one other game. I picked up on Friday. I picked up Marvel Avengers. I got it for PS4. Just looking for like I'm just sitting around. I'm like I got a lot of time on my hand, and I'm just like I don't have any games to play, and I'm like I've been interested in. I almost bought Avengers when it came out about a month ago, and I heard about the issues, and like they've had a bunch of updates since then. So I'm like, there's a big one a few weeks ago, and I'm like, all right, I've heard it's more stable now, and it seemed like for the most part when it launched, it actually launched okay for a game like that. Like it wasn't broken on day one, but there's some bugs and issues, but anyways, started playing that. I've only played a few hours of it. Like I literally just like the first chunk of it, you can't like you're not even online. So like you're playing as Kamala Khan, who's Captain Marvel, not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel. And like her big power is like she's a teenage girl, and her power is like she's basically like Stretch Armstrong, where she can like she can make her like she can move her, stretch her arms out very long. She can like become bigger. She can make like giant fists, stuff like that. And she's still learning her powers as go. Basically, like the story, like, and the story's actually pretty good. Like where like in this one where it's like, so they have like A-Day, and it's like they're doing this big technology event, and then something goes wrong, and there's like a big disaster in San Francisco, and like 1 million people are killed in this, and like a lot of people become out of this event. Like they get like superpowers, and then they're called Inhumans, and like they're being like basically taken away by this company, and like the Avengers are like, because it happened, like something the Avengers were doing, it wasn't their fault, but something that they were doing. Everybody, they turned around, and like the Avengers are bad people, and like Captain America is died during the event, and so you're Kamala Khan, and you figuring out this information about how they're the sabotage and like they're all that, and like you're trying to get the Avengers back together. And the first section, like this is not really spoilers here, like it's in the beta, like you find Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and you get him on your side. Now you're trying to like find Iron Man. So like the first handful of missions, like I said, you're not even online or anything, and it's a pretty straightforward game, but like you get to play as Hulk, and you get to play as mostly as Kamala Khan. But I don't know, I'm having a blast with it. I actually really like the story. I just got to the part where you actually go online, and I have the war table, which is kind of like the Destiny. Like you see all the maps you can go to and shit like that, and you can pick your missions. So I just got to that section, and you can actually like pick between playing as Hulk and Kamala Khan, and they all have power levels like they have in like a Destiny or an Anthem, Division, shit like that. And you get upgrades, you can upgrade their skills. So I want to play more of that, but like it runs pretty well. Like, and it's cool. Like with the PS4 Pro, you have the performance mode, and you can put it in 4K, or you can run on a higher performance when you have a stable frame rate. I played on 4K for a while, and it ran okay. There's a few times where like the frame rate dropped a little bit, but it wasn't like egregious, but like it dropped a little bit. And I just been running on performance mode, and it's been running perfectly fine on that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love the story so far. It's a lot better than I suspected, especially from a games as a service game. But can't wait to see it. I heard overall that the story's pretty good. But I can't wait to like get some of the other characters as you go. So you unlock other Avengers as you go. But that's the only thing I've been playing this week is Avengers. So what about you, Gables?
All right, so a continuation from last week. I decided to finish up Donkey Kong Country on the SNES app. So playing through the entirety of DKC, that's something that I haven't done. I don't think I've actually played through it all the way like that before, honestly. But yeah, this was like marks one of the first time for me. I have beaten the game previously, but that's through that was basically through like someone else's save game that I borrowed years ago. So technically I did beat the game like in that retrospect, but this is my first full-on experience. And man, the original Donkey Kong Country is a pretty fun game. I mean, sure, there's some things that are a little bit more basic, and I kind of prefer the second one over the first in regards to what you can do in terms of not only collecting stuff, but in terms of the bosses you face and also the animal buddies that you play as and stuff. But I can understand why initially when Donkey Kong Country first came out, how revolutionary it was at the time, how popular it got. But at the same point, it's like I enjoyed it for what it was, which was a fun platformer. It definitely had its hard spots, that's for sure. But there was another game that released a few months ago on the SNES app by the name of Natsume Championship Wrestling. So this is a game I didn't really know too much about. I have seen it for sale on other services before. I believe the eShop had it at one point on the Wii. Didn't really invest any time into it. Didn't really check out what it was, but I decided to give it a shot. And I have to admit, this game by Natsume, it's not that bad. Honestly, it's not that bad of a game in general. It kind of reminds me of when I played through WWF Raw on the Super Nintendo. Now, that was an LJN game, but at that same point, this was one of those rare games where I felt that LJ actually did a good job with it, which is kind of going across many gamers' heads probably listening to it. It's like, oh, LJN actually made some decent games. Like,
right?
There may not be a lot, but there definitely are a couple of good games that that developer actually put out. And I feel that WWF Raw was one of those type of games. And how that ties into Natsume Championship Wrestling is a lot of the grappling style of it kind of reminds me of that game in of itself. But at the same time, it kind of reminds me a bit of Fire Pro Wrestling. And what I mean by that is the grappling style, to where when you go into, like, when you bump into, like, an opponent or something, you've got to time a direction on the D-pad along with, like, either the Y button, the X button, or even, like, I want to say the A button as well. So here's the thing. In terms of the grappling system in and of itself, the face buttons are in correlation with a specific type of light, Irish whip, or even a strong attack. So basically, how this works is you pick your character. You basically pick them in either, like, say, a single or a tag team format. It's pretty basic when it comes to the match selections. So how you go through is the X button, I think is for running. And so you can do, like, a run attack. You can actually do, like, there's actually 2 or 3 different types of run attacks, now that I think about it. Yeah, there are 2 different types of run attacks. Especially when you go through, you grapple someone, Irish whip them, and all of a sudden you can actually do, like, maybe like a running clothesline or like a running big boot or whatsoever. But when this game gets mostly interesting is when you finally whittle down an opponent and you can actually go through and really work the system of the grapple system to the point where you can actually overwhelm the person to an extent that you completely dominate a match. You can go through the pinning button, which I believe is relegated to the L shoulder button, now I think about it. I haven't touched the game in like 3 or 4 days now. But long story short, the match style of it goes pretty quickly. At the same time, there really isn't a lot of depth in terms of what you can do. I couldn't even find how you can go up to the top rope and actually perform like high risk moves or anything else like that. But I've actually done matches to where I've picked my character, I've tossed my opponent outside the ring, I go outside the ring, and all of a sudden do these power moves, and I go inside the ring and they do like a fucking count out. So it's like I've actually gotten count out wins before. Those played into roles when I had to play specific tag team matches. Like there's a tag team tournament match, right, where you face off against a couple of like different teams. I think it's like either 3 or 4 different teams, and whoever moves on goes on to the next round. So it's sort of like a round robin sort of tournament.
Okay.
Basically, what happens is you can only control the person that you've selected for player 1, and the CPU is the one that controls player 2. And the thing about it is you never tag in your AI partner. Why? Because once that happens, the computer will automatically take a shit, and based upon what type of difficulty you're on, you will lose the damn match. So I've actually had to rewind me not tagging in my tag team partner so I could completely go through it and win a match. So you could say in terms of like the tag team tournament and also a tag team round robin mode, I had to do it all with 1 versus 2, pretty much. So I did that. I went through and I picked my character for the singles format. I went through, blazed through that and the round robin stuff. And speaking of the characters, a lot of the characters, their names have been changed because of various likenesses, but there are wrestlers in there that are definitely references from, say, the WCW, WWF, and like New Japan from back in the day. There was one character I selected who is the stunning who has the stunning likeness of Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. So I went with him. But there's another wrestler I could recognize as like Ivan Koloff. That was another one I could recognize in there. But I couldn't recognize some of the other wrestlers. I know some of them are probably from New Japan back in the day. But yeah, they're taking certain various like wrestlers' likenesses, sort of that of like a New Japan pro wrestling approach, to where the combat in of itself is fun to play, but a lot of the character likenesses are very realistic towards like wrestlers from other promotions and this and that. But long story short, this game is fun. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not going to last you for, like, say, longer than, say, maybe 4 hours most. But it's definitely worth a shot. I think it was pretty much like a okay game. I would probably give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 in that regards. But the other game that I actually did play a little bit of, I don't know why, I decided just to power on Link to the Past on the SNES app. Went through the first 3 palaces before heading off into like the Golden Land, as they advertise it as, which was kind of funny in of itself. Because I go to the first dungeon, I do everything else. I do everything in that thing all like instinctively. I didn't even have to look at a freaking player's guide or anything else like that. I take care of the Armor Knight bosses, which is like a group of 6 6 large Armor Knights you gotta defeat with arrows. Go to the Desert Palace. That one actually took a little bit longer, but the boss in that stage with those 2 or 3 sandworms, yeah, those ones were a little bit more difficult because I couldn't time, because the depth of the perception throws you off when you're facing this boss. So I was using my ice rod a little bit. I was able to take out one of those freaking sandworms, but I had to use my sword and timing correctly. So that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But the last one is like right where the Death Mountain stuff was at. You have to face off against a boss by the name of Moldorm. And the thing about this damn boss, it's freaking annoying because you are suspended upon the highest peak of like this tower. And if you get knocked off, you're falling all the way back down to like a floor below. So you have to make that trek all the way back up. And so this is how the power of the freaking Switch Rewind ability is so beneficial. Because every time that happened, I rewound. And that way I could not go through that arduous process of going to the same room all the way back up again and again. So, like I said before, I beat this boss. I beat Moldorm after what seemingly felt like about a good solid 5 minutes. Went through the Golden Land stuff. I haven't done anything else in that regards. But one thing strikes me as really interesting. When I first played through A Link to the Past, it was on the Game Boy Advance. I had to use a player's guide in that retrospect. It was an old school Zelda game. I didn't know what in the heck I was doing. I've played through the game before, taken that experience, like, I want to say it's been over 10 or maybe 12 years since I've played A Link to the Past, like a full-on playthrough of it. But I have enjoyed myself more this time around with this playthrough. I had to maybe use look up a guide once, and that was to get this Moon Pearl, because you need that if you want to go into like the Dark World sort of aspect. Because if you don't have that, you'll transform into some sort of rabbit creature, and you're not able to attack. So, yeah, you know what? This game does a good job of like introducing you to like specific elements and stuff. And what I mean by that is like there are certain things you can pick up on NPC characters in the game to where you can go to a specific location that you've been to and use certain items in this spots to earn like another power up or this or that. A case in point, I went through and I picked up this item called like the Book of Medora. So basically, before doing that, I went across the sand area and stuff where that Desert Palace was at, and I came up to this slab and I couldn't read it because it was in Hylian. So I remembered from a past playthrough that it's in a building somewhere and I need the running boots in order to knock into it and knock this book down. So I did that, and I went back to that area. I equipped the Book of Medora. It got everything else in English, so I was able to understand what was going on. It's stuff like that where you have NPCs tell you exactly, like give you hints on where you go through that make this game much better in terms of navigation, as opposed to, say, I don't know, a game like Simon's Quest on the NES, where everything's so vague that they'll actually give you false information, or if there's like a translation error, so you're left to figure it out on your own. Or even like for Zelda 2, where there are some things you'll go through and recognize, but it also suffers from what I would say like a lack of direction in terms of what you have to do or what you got to go next. Of course, with A Link to the Past, you have access to press the X button and bring up the map to where you know where you need to go in terms of where you need to collect these pendants or where you have to go through and rescue the 7 maidens in the Dark World. But yeah, that was that was that. I haven't touched the game in roughly about 3 days, but I'm not sure. I probably am going to go through and see if I can go and finish up this game. But the main crux of what I was playing on the PS4 that I haven't touched in months is Persona 5 Royal.
Oh, nice.
So that game started way back when, earlier on this year. Stopped playing it around March, I think. It was either March or no, it wasn't March. I started the game in March, now I think about it. But late May, I actually stopped playing it. And so it's been a few months. So I decided, you know what? I need to bite the bullet. I need to finish up this game. I spent a couple hours today actually going and not actually doing a lot of the combat portions, but no, I'm going through a lot of the daily tasks and increasing my social standings in terms of my proficiencies, my charm, my guts, my kindness and all this other shit, because it kept fucking bugging me. I couldn't talk to certain NPCs, like establishing social links or increasing like the ranks of social links because I needed proficiency in multiple different areas. So this is one character, Futaba. I wanted to try to go through and establish like a social link with her. However, I gotta have my kindness rank, my kindness like stat increased to selfless. And in order to do that, I have to level up my freaking kindness thing a couple of different times because I focused on other quadrants of the proficiency stuff. So it's like one that has guts is up to 4, and then like charm is like maxed out, and then like knowledge is maxed out, and like freaking the other one's maxed out. So I got 3 stats that are maxed out. Guts is 1 before max out, and now I had to go through level of the kindness stuff. So I'm looking up how I can go through and do that. I'm picking up books. I'm watching the movies inside the movie theaters and stuff that you can do. And while I'm doing this, there's like a ticking clock going because I have to infiltrate and send the calling card. Actually, no, I have to send a calling card to a person like right near the deadline, basically. So I'm far enough in the story where I've done a lot of different palaces already. And now I'm getting closer towards like the end of this game and stuff like that, where I feel now I got to go through, I got to wait almost like a day, like a couple days before in order to send out the calling card in the story-based situation. So it makes better sense in terms of the story. But, so yeah, while I'm doing that, I'm establishing more social links. I'm leveling up. I now have my kindness up to level 3 out of 5. I need to get it to at least level 4 if I want to increase more social link stuff. Because obviously, why I'm doing that is because it'll help me out. Not only in terms of specific stats that I'll have, but it's because I'll make stronger persona creatures, which will help me be stronger in the long run. So now, where I'm at in Persona 5 Royal, I'm 2 days away from sending out my calling card. And I look at the levels where people were at. So I'm at 56, I think, with my main character. And they're looking at 59. And so now I have to go through the place of mementos and grind a bit, because I do not want to be under level when I face this boss, because I have a feeling this is going to be one tough-ass boss. So, me getting used to the gameplay of it, that's going to be something I'm going to be chipping away at this week, because I really want to see this game through, Tyler. Yeah. I'm now officially over 90 hours in this game.
Cool.
So, I'm going to go through later on this week. Got to see what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Glad to see you jump back into Persona 5. But not a lot going on this week. Some smaller stuff here, but I think the biggest thing was the PS5 breakdown video, which I don't know, I didn't really find all that interesting. And a lot of people were freaking out about it, but some of that, we do have some PlayStation news I want to talk about. So we had a lot of PlayStation finally came out on their blog and said a lot about so the thing is that PS4 games and PS5, your top questions answered. And this is something we talked about. It was like they said 99% of games will work on the PS5 from PS4. How do game saves transfer over? Blah blah. And they finally came out and said obviously if you have the digital edition, all your PS4 games will transfer over. The regular edition, everything should work fine. as far as getting your PS4 games on PS5. Certain games will run at better frame rates. Some layers like Ghost of Tsushima will be 60 frames per second. Some will get HDR effects. Some will up to 40, even run at 4K, and they'll get the game boost. Which there's a lot of games that like on the PS4 Pro that you can turn on game boost and they run better with that on, even if they don't have like HDR or 4K, but they just run smoother, run better. They talked about how you can play your PSVR on there. The only thing that doesn't make sense is like the PS5 camera doesn't work with it, and it's just like you have to use the PS4 camera for it to work. So it's like they haven't really give us a reason why to buy the PS5 camera. Honestly, right now it's like,
Right.
I mean, what's the point? And then but the one downside is for the PS4 camera, you have to get an adapter. But they said that you can get an adapter for free through the PlayStation website. I'm not sure. They haven't said when that's gonna be available, but I'm assuming there's gonna be like limited quantities. So, Game Pass and PS Plus games, all those will come on over. So the big thing is they talked about was game saves. So you can transfer your digital games, game data, saves, all that over to your PS5 with using a LAN cable, or you could do it via Wi-Fi. Or you can, if you have like PS Plus member and if you have your games in the cloud, you can do it that way, which is something I've done before. Remember when I got my PS4 and I got my PS4 Pro, I just hooked up with the cable, and I transferred all it took a long time, but I transferred all my my stuff over. So that's one way to do it. But having the fact you can just pull the stuff from the cloud will be really nice. So hopefully that goes well.
That's a no-brainer, man.
yeah. And then they gave us a list of the games that aren't going to be playable on that won't be backwards compatible, and I think it's only like 10 games. So it's DWVR, Afro Samurai 2, TT Isle of Man, Just Deal With It, Shadow Complex Remastered, Robinson the Journey, We Sing, Hitman Go, Shadowin, and Joe's Diner. So those are the games. There's 10 games that won't work. Who knows why they won't, but I mean, the biggest one out of that is Hitman Go and Shadow Complex Remastered. So I don't think anybody's going to be really upset about that, of that list. God knows why they're not going to, but I don't know. I mean, what was your thoughts on hearing all those cables?
Let's see. In regards to the whole elements of backwards compatibility, honestly, I'm not really too heartbroken about it. Yeah, they were accurate in saying 99% of their games are going to be backwards compatible. From the games that were initially listed on this list, a lot of them are indie games that nobody hardly knows about. One of them being extremely atrocious in Joe's Diner, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. Hadn't looked in a lot of the gameplay, but that's no heavy loss. When it comes to the two games that actually have some form of recognition, Hitman Go and Shadow Complex Remastered, you can always play those games on other platforms. I mean, hell, Hitman Go was definitely like an iPhone game at one point, but honestly, what's kind of hilarious about it is I had actually bought Tomb Raider Go and Hitman Go like at least about a week or two ago. And what's hilarious about that is I can play them on my PS4. I can actually play it on the Vita as well, since I've actually... spoilers, I've actually went through to my Vita as late as early as last night and actually downloaded those games onto my system. So it's going to be interesting to see... how I'm going to enjoy that. But the other game... Shadow Complex Remastered, yeah, you can get this game on like another service as well. Like, say if you wanted to get it on, say, PC, you can always get Shadow Complex, maybe get the update for it or whatsoever. But what I'm saying is, there's no big losses here. It's just basically games you wouldn't have known about, or you can get them on other services. But in terms of the content transfer, I mean, it's kind of like the same how the PS4 was, say, with the PS4 Pro, where you connect two LAN cables, or you do whatsoever from one system to another. I've actually done it as well, from my Royal Blue PS4 to my PS4 Pro, transferred a lot of the content. Now, I could have just done the cloud save things like what Tyler's doing, but I was a dummy in that regards, as I transferred some bit of my own content into that system, which I think it took about a couple hours to get done. But I'm glad that they're still doing that aspect from PS4 to PS5. I love the idea that my save data is going to transfer from the cloud onto that system, so I'm not going to be having to transfer a lot of different data. Hell, whenever I do get a PS5, it's going to be somewhat seamless, I feel. Hell, I can always download a couple games like off of the service when I need to. Installing games. Hell, I don't even care if I'm going to go through like the game installs, like transfer from one system to another. It's basically differs from person to person, but I'm of the mind and stuff where if I'm getting a new system and I already have the saved data through the cloud, I can just pick whatever game and stuff and install it on the system, and hopefully the thing will be quick to do so.
Yeah, and I think with backwards compatibility, like I've always felt like it's not as big a deal as we give it sometimes. We're like, yeah, it's like it's nice to have options, but it's like how likely are you going to play a game that from 13 years ago or whatever? Like how many people are actually going to go back and play a game from 2008 on that actually want to, like, yeah, it'd be cool to have that option, but it's like it'd be great to have that option, but I'm not going to do it. It's like I'm excited for the Mass Effect trilogy to come out, but it's like I have the Mass Effect trilogy on my, like, I could play it on my Xbox right now, but it's like I don't want to do all that. Like I want to play but anyways,
yeah,
but I think this
that.
I think this right now, I mean, I think it's different when you talk about like we were transitioning to the new consoles, and especially now where it's like like even really like towards this this last generation coming into the these current consoles we have right now, where it's like there's a lot more online games than there were in 2006 and 2005, so that's a big deal. Just bringing over your saves and all your like like your Call of Duty levels, or bringing over like now you got, like, there's so many games and services out there where it's like, am I gonna have to restart my Destiny save or my Avengers save or Division 2 or some of these games where you have years of progress put into them? It's like I didn't buy Madden at launch going into the PS4 because I knew I didn't want to rebuy it from 360 to PS4 and then also start my my franchise and all that stuff over again. And like knowing that I'm able to bring, the only reason I bought this year's at launch is because I knew they said you get you get a free upgrade, and B, you're able to bring your progress over. So like that stuff, it's much different now, where it's like like I said, like A, having the free upgrades, it helps a lot. You don't have to rebuy the stuff, and B, like all that progress from these games that like people will play for months and years, and will constantly be upgraded and added to. I think it's it's definitely really important, and also just the fact that a lot of these games aren't charging for you have to rebuy it again, and you either it's going to run better, or you get the full on upgrade to the PS5 version. Like with Avengers, that's big. Like I want to play Avengers, but like I also was like, well, is like my save going to move on over there too? It's like, do I want to start this game and then I'm going to invest hundreds of hours in this game? I don't see myself doing that, but it's like, if I want to jump back into it later, it's like, do I have to play this whole story over again, blah blah, and then having like that peace of mind that I don't have to, and also I'm going to get a free upgrade when the new consoles come out, like that that kind of sealed the deal for me getting it on Friday when I did. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all this was great. Like, and it's like I think some people were like, you guys all overreacted, but it's like it's like we always hear, like, when every E3 press conference or any big press conference, like all this cool shit comes out of it, but it's afterwards, like the details come out, the shitty stuff comes out. It's like every year for like E3 or whatever, it's like there's always, they announce this cool stuff, but there's like these major caveats they leave out, and it's just like the fact that they weren't talking about this stuff and they waited so long. It's like about game saves and backwards compatibility, and our game's gonna run better, blah blah blah. It's like it made you nervous, where it's like this thing comes out in like a month, and it's like we don't know this stuff. So it's like if there's if we're not telling us, like it's hard to believe that it's gonna be good news. So I'm happy to that basically the answer is pretty much best case scenario for all this. We got it. Because I think a lot of people started having their doubts. So, but another.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yes, and also in terms of like the backwards compatibility stuff for both systems, say PS5, Xbox Series X, and stuff, we're looking at a generation coming up to where those games on backwards compatibility are going to be even better in terms of performance, in terms of visual frame rate stuff, in terms of fidelity and stuff than they were on the last generational stuff.
Yeah.
Case in point, we're going to be seeing games. And I kid you not, we're going to be seeing games that performed terrible upon maybe like a frame rate wise, say on the PS4 and Xbox One, also perform like maybe fantastic in terms of the next systems. In case in point, Assassin's Creed Unity. That game,
Yeah.
when it came out, was barely running 30 frames per second. Had a lot of technical glitches and stuff on the PS4, Xbox One, and stuff. Even had some bit of consistencies with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro for those systems. Because that game, I learned this game is actually uncapped in terms of frame rate, in terms of this. With the Xbox Series X, from what I've been seeing through Digital Foundry, it's locked at 60 frames per second, and the game actually runs fucking buttery smooth, which is really super surprising. Of course, it's got its little glitches and its little hiccups and stuff like that, but the experience is overall improved than what it was originally released in the state it was in. Another case in point, the Xbox version of Final Fantasy 15. That game not only has faster like load-in times, but it's like it has better frame rate consistency at 60 frames than it was when it first launched. But what I'm getting at is even for like games say like Ghost of Tsushima that just released this year, that's going to get a big old boost to the PS5 system as well. So for any type of the reasoning why you would keep a lot of the games, say for backwards compatibility wise or whatsoever, is because of those improvements that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X will have. So from the outside of looking in, you may not return to say like a game you've completed this year, but maybe a couple of years down the road and stuff, if you have that craving or whatsoever, if you still have your copy, you're going to have a better experience than you did originally playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all awesome. That's it. So it's even better. You know, it's not just the fact your games are going to work on it, but they'll work better. But you know, sticking with PlayStation, we had another pretty. Not I don't want to say big, but it's a decent. It's a pretty drastic change, I would say. With the PlayStation trophies. So, you know, for a long time, and I've always felt that the achievements were better on Xbox than on PlayStation, and like I was a big achievement guy, you know, back in the day. And you know, I kind of sort of get into the trophies, you know, and achievements still, but I'm like, I don't even care about that number anymore. It's like, you know, it's a weird gamer pride thing that's just like, I don't know, it doesn't really mean anything. I feel like in the grand scheme of things. But anyways, so the big thing they did was, so I don't know, I love the achievements because it was just one number going up constantly, you know, that's cool. With the PlayStation trophy system, it's always been kind of like, it didn't really make a lot of sense. It's like you have a level, and then you have a percentage that goes up, and it doesn't really make sense about how, like, then, you know, there's the platinums, the gold, the silver, the bronze. So, and it's kind of disappointing. Like I'll play a lot of games, and it's like I'll go up over the course of a year. I might go up a level or maybe two. Like when I started, like on my PS3, I only played PS3 exclusive games on there, so I probably only played the whole thing 25 games on there. Over that, and I was at like level like 9 or 10, and now I think I was at level 18, but it's like the longer, you know, the higher level it gets, like the slower you like get to the next level, and it could take months or even years to get to the next level. And it's just like, I don't know, I'll go look at it every now and again and look and like see how I'm progressing. It's just like, man, I played like a lot of games here. It's like, you know, it's like I'm barely moving on that level. Like in like you know, like I said,
Yep.
the higher level, the more trophies you have to get to go up, even percentage points. So now the big thing they rolled out here is, and it was kind of cool. They announced like Wednesday, and it went live Wednesday night or something, and they changed it. So now, like, all right, the level was 1 to 99 was level cap. So now they changed it. It goes 1 to 999. So they did an update. Everybody's jumped up. I went from like level 18 to I think I'm like 311 or 312. So. Amber is the color of my energy. But I don't know. I mean, I think you're a couple levels higher than me, Gables. Have you looked at your level yet?
Yes, actually. I was at level 20 when I started off before Wednesday night, and that was through accumulation of the past. God, ever since the trophy stuff counted. And I looked, and I'm at 327, which actually has qualified me through their rankings to be at the bottom end of silver class.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at too. Yeah. So yeah, and then they have like rankings, so like 1 through 300, 1 through 299 is bronze, and there's like different like 1 through 99, and then 100 through 199 have different, like your trophy looks different. Then like 300 through 599 is silver, 600 through 998 is gold. Then if you get the 999, it's platinum. So I don't know. I mean,
Yep.
It's a subtle change. Like I said, I'm not like big on the trophy stuff and the achievement stuff as I used to be. But I mean, it is nice. It's like, I mean, whenever you get trophies, you always get that little yay. You know, that makes you feel good for a few seconds. It's always kind of cool to get the trophies. Like, and it's a dumb little thing, but it does make a difference. So yeah, and they said like the big thing is like you're gonna like level up faster. You'll be a lot more noticeable as you're going to see these to see that. So I mean, I think it does. I still overall like the achievement system better. Like that's just one whole number going up more than, and you just know how it works. It's like, okay, this is worth 30 achievement points. This is worth 15. Or it's like, okay, what is a bronze? What is that worth? Like 2%? I mean, and like, okay, well now I'm at a higher level, so now it's worth 0.25%. So it's like, I don't love it as much as the achievement system, but I don't know. I think it's a big upgrade. It's a subtle thing, but I think it's gonna make a huge difference, and it does make it a little more exciting when you get trophies because they're gonna mean a little bit more now than they used to before. So I don't know. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, I think it gives it more of an incentive for you to play games on the PlayStation systems now.
Yeah.
And when I say that is before, yes, it was a slog to go through and increase your level for a PSN unless you actually went through and boggled down and played like multiple different types of games, getting platinums, getting gold trophies, this and that. I mean, hell, look at me, for instance. I've had like freaking 24 platinum trophies now for like the last year or so and a half. And at the same time, I finally was able to cross the the level 20 threshold and stuff. But I didn't know what type of my progress was going to be going. I was stagnant on the same level for a better part of a year. But the thing about it is, it's making progressing in terms of games. It makes it a little bit more meaningful because you're seeing a lot of things leveling up faster to where, oh, okay, now I'm at level this and that and stuff. Like, I'm pretty close to 328. But at the same time, it's like, it's seeing the little bits of improvements here and there. But I would like to see, like, I would personally would like to see how much percentage-wise it unlocks through, say, a bronze trophy or a silver or a gold or even a platinum trophy, because those are supposed to like increase more of a percentage of the bar in that regards. But at the same time, I do like the change. It makes me feel like I want to go and play more PlayStation games, and I'm happy that they did include this type of decision because this came out of nowhere this last week. And this is more or less a new thing they started doing for the PlayStation 5 that releases. They need to work out the icons, though, because apparently they're supposed to be changing out the star icons that reflect your current like level status in terms of what type of trophy color you are. So it's like bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. Out of my entire friends list, there are a couple that are way over than what anyone else has got. Like, say, one of the users that I had befriended and stuff, he's already at 780 in regards to that. So he's got at least a couple of hundred just to go for that platinum stage. And this dude's been gaming for years as well. But the second person is actually a user that we know from the old Sarcastic Gamer games, with Sarcastic Gamer days and stuff, with Carbossi92. That dude's a freaking beast. That man has so many games that he completes. I kid you not, this man plays no other kind of console or system besides the PlayStation ones, because I see him from time to time playing these random obscure games, but he's getting platinum after platinum after platinum. Like, he's literally charging through some of these games like about a good solid fucking week at a time. I think the last one he was actually working on, I'm not too sure if I'm mistaken him or with the other guy, but he was working on Friday the 13th. And that game is not easy to get a platinum in, because you got to get all these random stuff going, especially if you're going to try to kill Jason. I mean, holy shit. In order to do that, you have to do like a voodoo witch ritual to get everything else all aligned right. You have to team with people in order to get that right situation. To where you have to knock the mask off him, have someone else take the other mask, and all of a sudden do this. I mean, we tried that.
We got together and still couldn't do it.
Yeah. But I'm very happy with this change. It makes it a lot less tedious. I know some purists are not going to like the changes because, well, they probably felt it was much more rewarding to see things slog at a snail's pace. But I like it. I like it because I feel like I'm accomplishing more than what I initially was doing. Even though it's like a visual aesthetic change, I like the idea that I am progressing a lot farther, bits at a time. And honestly, it makes me want to play some more PlayStation games.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice. It's a neat little change. It's very subtle, but I think it does, like I said, it makes a difference. But a couple little topics here left. This stuff here is actually kind of some video game movie news. So I showed Gables before the show the Monster Hunter teaser trailer. It's like 15 seconds long. It's got Mila Jovovich, I think is how you say her name. And she played the main character in the Resident Evil movies, and her husband directed all those movies, and he's the director of this one. But I'm not a Monster Hunter guy, but I know what the games look like. I know what those games are. And this looks nothing like outside of the monster. The monster looks like something on Monster Hunter. This doesn't look anything like a fucking Monster Hunter game at all. It's like I had a feeling when I as soon as I saw the director and the actress in the movie, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be trash. But in most video game movies are trash. But I don't know. I mean, you were like in a stunned disbelief when you watched it. What'd you think?
Oh, stunned disbelief is an understatement. The first thing you see is Mila Djokovic on top of like some sort of military vehicle going out, and basically facing off against this gigantic monster that just appears from the sand. And my first question to you is like, is this based upon the game? And you're like, yeah, but like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, you didn't realize it was a Monster Hunter video game movie until afterwards, and I told you like,
no shit, because it has Monster Hunter, right? And obviously, this is not Monster Hunter. Anybody who's played that game will know this is in a fantasy fucking setting, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to have like medieval like armor, tribes, this and other shit. You're supposed to be killing these monsters based upon bounties, and then going through and collecting resources in order to craft things like weapons and items and this and that. I may not be the most like ideal person to talk about Monster Hunter, but I've even played some little bits of it, enough of it to know that this ain't fucking Monster Hunter. This is some steaming pile of fucking sand dune bullshit.
Yeah. This just reeks of like Resident Evil.
This reeks of Uwe Boll, dude.
Yeah. I don't know, like. Yeah, it's stunning what like this. It's like what they had as soon, like I said, as soon as I saw a couple years ago when they announced Mila and her husband were starring and directing it, I'm like, this movie's gonna be doomed. But it's the main trailer is gonna be coming out soon. I can't wait to watch it because it's gonna be trash. I'm not gonna watch this movie, but I can't. I'm stunned at how bad this looks. And I've never even played a Monster Hunter game, but I know enough and I've seen enough clips of these games to know what they look like. And like I said, they're fantasy settings. They have weird cats. I didn't see a fucking cat in this trailer. And she's on the back of a fucking military jeep, and they're all just shooting at it with fucking assault weapons. It's just like there's no guns. The source
material is an afterthought.
Yeah. It's like all basically. It's like we have the monsters and we have the title, and that's what this movie is. And I can't wait to see the actual trailer. But another video game movie that, speaking of Resident Evil, they announced that there's a new Resident Evil reboot in the works, and this one is being directed by Johannes Roberts, I believe is how you say their name, and they're gonna say that this one's gonna be more of a faithful ties to the original Resident Evil 1 and 2. To that, it's actually going to take place back in 1998. A lot of it's going to take place in the Spencer Mansion. I guess he went back and he played a lot of the original games and studied for this. They announced a bunch of people that are going to be in the movie. They have people. So I don't know one really big from this, but I wouldn't suspect anything from this. But they have actors, like people that have been in in movies for a while. So they have like Maze Runner's Kaya Scodelario. She's going to play Claire. I'm going to butcher all these names. Hannah John Kamen. She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's going to play Jill Valentine. Robbie Amell, he was actually like an Arrow and a few other like DC TV shows. He's okay. He's going to be play Chris Redfield. Tom Hopper, who's been he's in like Umbrella Academy. He's going to be a Wesker. And then Avon Joga, who was in Zombieland. He's going to play Leon S. Kennedy, and Neil McDonough, he's like a bunch. He's been around forever. He'll play William Berkman, but so I mean, like you wouldn't know these names out loud, but if you wouldn't, like, I didn't know him, but then I looked at the pictures and I'm like, oh, okay, I actually recognize a lot of these actors, and like they're not like, great, but I don't know. I'm not like, and what scares me is the director of this. Like their two big movies they directed was 47 Meters Down and the sequel, and they're like those are pretty bad, cheesy like shark movies.
Yeah.
So that's about like I don't know. I got sneezed and it's not. It's like it's so close. There it is. Oh god, thank God. It's been there for like 30 seconds, and I've just been waiting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting this to be a fantastic movie, but if it's just like a good, solid, if it's like a 60 on the Rotten Tomato meter, I think that would be a job well done for this. Especially as just like with the actors involved. Like I said, they're not like top notch people, but they've been around, and they're good and like they're very good and like their roles are put in. Like they can only do one job, but like they're actually pretty good at it. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. Especially the fact that it's going to be a little more grounded to it's going to be a little more based off of because like the Resident Evil movies, like they're bad Resident Evil movies, but they're just bad movies as well. They're not like, even if they were just something entirely different, those movies are just awful. And it's like, yeah, it's made worse because they're based off Resident Evil lore, and it's like they don't follow it, and then like the characters that they bring in from the games like are just like treated like afterthoughts and are just jokes. So I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm my bar isn't very high, but I'm like my bar is way higher for like the Uncharted movie, because I got Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Mark Wahlberg. They got a lot invested in that, and I'm hopeful for that. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not expecting this to win a bunch of Oscars or anything like that, but like if it came out and it's good, I'll be happy. I'm expecting at least good, and this one I'm hoping for, like if it's just mediocre, I'll be happy. What about you, Gables?
That's just the same thing that I'm thinking of. It's like I pretty much want this movie and stuff to do good. I know it's going to be based upon like the first two games of Resident Evil, so I'm still kind of like hesitant to seeing what direction they're going to go in. Like, are they going to split it between two separate stories where it's like one half is going to deal with one game, one half of the other? And also, we don't know pretty much about a lot of the details in terms of like who's going to be doing this or that. But I remain optimistic of it, and hopefully it's going to be a better source material than like the Mila Jovovich stuff or the original Resident Evil movies that were portrayed. So,
yeah,
long story short, I just hope it's good.
Yeah, like it's like it's like you don't have to like directly rip off, and I know like even like Lord of the Rings, stuff like that, they vary off of like the main of the story and the books and stuff like that. You don't have to 100% follow them. And obviously, you can't. When you talk about these games are 8-10 hours long, you can't do everything in them. You gotta, these are gonna be a 2-hour movie, so, and you're basing it off of 2 games. So, but it's like at least stick to the source for the most part. Stay in the world. And it's just like like that's the biggest issue with the Resident Evil movies, where like I said, it's already a bad movie, but then it's like you insult the source material. And look at the Monster Hunter teaser trailer. It's like same thing. It's like you're like just slapping in the face the source material of those games. But moving on to the last topic. This is a quick hitter here. The Medium finally has a release date. That's like the other big with this and Halo were like the two big games they're pushing for the Xbox Series X. This one is actually going to be exclusive to the Xbox Series consoles. So it won't be, you can't play it on the Xbox One. It's actually coming out December 10th. I think a lot of people we assumed it was going to be a launch game. It's actually going to be $50 instead of it's not going to be 60 or 70. It's just going to be 50. But I don't know. I mean, it just kind of makes that launch lineup look a little bit worse for Xbox. Where I don't think this. There's a lot of games come out. We've talked about how crazy November is. So it's a good thing that game overall is not going to be in that in November, especially that period, which is a Murder Row of big games. I guess you can also focus on Gears as being the Gears Tactics being the one big one. But this game, I'm actually really excited for this game. I wish it could have came out if it was playable on Xbox Ones sooner, because it looks like a good horror game, and that'd be a perfect October game. But I don't know. I mean, this game is. I mean, it looks good. I want to play it, but it looks like it's more of like a showpiece kind of game than anything else. Especially the fact maybe being $50. I could be wrong. I mean, Spider-Man Miles Morales is gonna be $50, but that game's just it's a franchise, and this is the first of its kind for what it is. I don't know. What about you, Gables?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I am looking forward to seeing how this game is going to be received. I am not really 100% convinced if this game is going to be like say a must play, but at the same time, I'm optimistic to see more of the game in and of itself. I like the concept of it being like a dual sort of perspective sort of thing from like one side of this, like one side and then like the other side in terms of like say reality, and all of a sudden inside of this like sort of psychological sort of world and this and that. But I'm gonna be waiting and seeing what happens with that.
Yeah.
For Medium.
This is one of those like games I look at like it's like those launch titles where it's like that's gonna be like a 7.5 kind of game, and that's
Right.
I think that's what I'm hoping for out of this. But I definitely like I hope I want to get a Series X probably sometime next year. And I hope it does well because it's a game I would like to jump back in and play. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You'll hear more from us. We're on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, any streaming platform. If you're on Google, we're on everything now. So check us out. Look up Drunk Nerds, Drunk Nerds Pod, Drunk Nerds Podcast, whatever. Just look us up, and in some form we'll be on there. Like, follow, subscribe. 5 stars, thumbs ups, whatever you guys can do to help us. We really would appreciate it. Share it, please. That actually helps us the most. Tell your friends, family, loved ones, whatever. I don't know. Tell your grandma about it. I don't care. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have yourself a fun time. Obviously, have yourself a good work week if you're working currently. But most importantly of all that, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
All right. Too sweet.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. Few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.